Hello everyone, good evening. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to the technical session 7F. I'm Mansi Soni and this session will be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the International Conference on Information and Communication Technology, London, United Kingdom. This eighth edition of the conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event was held in London on 20th and 21st of February, and the virtual event will be held through today, that is 23rd of February. I hope you will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive session through the day. So in this session, we have three presentations, and each presentation will given a total of 15 minutes, in which 12 minutes for the presentation and the remaining 3 minutes for the questions and answer. On 10 minutes, we'll raise a gentle reminder. There is another request to all the participants that you all stay connected with us till the closing remarks. And if you have any query or any update, you can write it to me in the chat box. So just before we get started, I would like to introduce to you all chair of the session, Professor Binita G. Jalj. Professor Binita is the head of the Department of Construction Economics and associate professor at University of Pretoria, Gauteng, South Africa. She did her PhD in property science from University of Free State. And our second session chair, Dr. Vijay Singh Rathore. He will be in the session in few minutes. Dr. Vijay Singh Rathore is a professor, CSE and Director Outreach of Jaipur Engineering College and Research Center, India, and Secretary, ACM Jaipur Chapter, and past Chairman, CSI Jaipur Chapter, having technique experience of 20 plus years. His core research area include internet security, cloud computing, big data, and Internet of Things. He has organized and participated 25 plus national and international conference of repute. So I would like to start our session with our first presenter, Junya Fukumoto, to present his paper on disaster relief donation matching system and user incentives. You may please start with your paper.
Oh, sorry. So, can you hear my voice?
Yes, we can hear.
Okay. I want to start. So, I'm Junya Fukumoto from Japan, Tohoku University. So today I want to speak about the disaster relief donation matching system and users incentives. So my topic is not the development of this information system, but not the development, but so how to use or how to enhance the usage of such kind of systems. So I want to start my presentation. So this is the contents of my today's presentation. So first, I want to explain the background. So my topic is related to the humanitarian logistics after natural disaster happened. So such cases, so material convergence problem happens. So I want to explain such kind of phenomena. And so after that, so I want to explain how to solve such kind of problems. And then, so how to use information systems for such problems. And after that, so I want to set up some research hypothesis. So how to enhance the usage of such kind of systems. Then I will do economic experiment, and so I will show the results. So this is the contents of my presentation. So this picture is the after the so about 10 years ago. So in Japan, so very huge disaster happened. So I think so many of you knows about the tsunami. So tsunami struck in this coastal area, and so due to such kind of tsunami, so many facilities are severely damaged. So we don't have enough spaces for the depots of such kind of we don't have depots to manage very huge amount of various types of relief goods. Some of goods are very high priority for the disaster victims, but so many of them are not so high priority, but so low priority. So even the disaster victims doesn't need such goods is transported to the disaster area, and so many people are required to manage such kind of unnecessary goods. And so some of goods are also, for example, many various type of goods are sent to the disaster area, but we cannot know what is inside, which kind of goods is inside. So many persons write in this way, but the information is not standardized. So therefore, the management of such kind of goods is very, very difficult. So this kind of problem is called material convergence problems. So after the natural disaster happens, so many type of goods converge to the disaster area. And so this kind of topic is very long from for 5 decades ago, but this problem is very difficult to solve. And so, for example, one author says that material convergence, one of the most important and but ironically, it's one of the most understudied disaster phenomena. And so other person says that they call it a second tier disaster. And there are two types of relief supply goods. So one is procurement goods. So for example, local governments, also national governments, procure goods and they send to the affected or disaster victims. And another is donation goods. So donation goods is based on the donation by various stakeholders. So some of them donate goods from their goodwill, but other malice donation sometimes happens. And therefore, this kind of goods is relatively easy to manage. But for these kinds of donation goods, it's very difficult to manage. So to control the such kind of donation goods, matching system has been proposed by various authors, and some of them are implemented. For example, Helios or aid matrix network or NetHopes, these kind of systems are implemented. But this is not so well utilized after the huge disaster happens. So this is a motivation of my back research. This is a structure of concept of matching system. In the information system, donator was a goods provider, input what is available to donate, and disaster victim or affected people, they input what they need, and some inventory managers, they input what is in their depot, and in this kind of matching system, automatically match the demand, the supply, also they output transportation plan. And this is the interface of the matching system developed by us. For example, the disaster victim can input information what is necessary for them. From the product menu, which type of goods, also how many, also where to send, also when they require, when they need. Such kind of things they can input. And this is これ違うか。I'm sorry. I want to skip. So inside this kind of matching system, so mathematical programming is working, and so they calculate with how to matching or how to transport such kind of goods. But the usage of this kind of system is not so easy. So this is a very convenient system, and so this is very effective to avoid the material convergence problem. So now I want to explain why why the usage is not so easy. So suppose that now there are 6 donators, and so now suppose that they use matching system, and so by input information, and so the matching system automatically match the demand and supply. But in this case, for example, there are 6 donators, and there are 5 disaster victims. So in this case, some of them may think that oh, I cannot donate, or I cannot be matched. So in this case, some of them may not use matching system, but instead they directly contact to this donate, the disaster victims. In this case, for example, one donator directly contact to the disaster victims by searching, and so in this case, their demand is fulfilled by the directly offer. So in this case, another donator may change their behavior, change from matching system to directly offer. And so this kind of behavior change happens. In this case, any of them may not use the matching system. And before doing this research, in the previous research, we analyzed such kind of behavior using a game theory model. We formulate the behavior of donator and disaster victims, and this is as a result of previous research. For example, suppose that there are number. Here is the number of donators, the number of donors. 20, 30, and 40. And there are 2 types of equilibrium. One is every donors use matching system. These blue lines is the payoff for the donor, payoff of donor when using matching system. And red line shows the payoff of donors using or directly offering indirectly offering. In this case, payoff using matching system is higher. Therefore, all the donors use matching systems. This kind of equilibrium is called equilibrium M. Equilibrium matching. Every donor using matching systems. But other type of equilibrium, for example, in this case, the offer of directly offering, the payoff of directly offering is higher than the using matching system. In this case, some donors using they don't use matching system. Instead, they directly offer, and only a part of donors use matching systems. And for these numbers, there are 2 types of equilibrium, multiple equilibrium, and we don't know which equilibrium happens. And in this case, we want to urge them to use matching system, and we want to make this kind of equilibrium realize. This is the objective of research. The objective of my research is to investigate whether the results of the above theoretical analysis hold through an economic experiments using matching system. And in the experiment, we test 2 hypotheses. And one is do different equilibrium arise for different supply-demand balances? And so other hypothesis is that so do donors change their behavior whether using so matching system directly donating, depending on the matching results of the previous rounds. So okay, let's skip this slides. So in the experiment, so for example, so at first, so each donor can directly offer to the so can make contact to the disaster victims, and so they can offer the donation. And and after that, so they input some info. They input this information in the matching system, and after that, so matching system calculates the matching. So this is the result. So at first, so we consider so three kind of so demand supply balance. One is excess demand. For example, so the aftermath of the disaster, so the goods are very scarce. So therefore, in this case, excess demand. But so as the time goes, so the demand decreases, and on the other hand, supply increases. In this case, excess supply cases. So from these results, so we can see that so in the case of excess demand, so usage of matching system is very high. Usage rate of matching system is very high. And on the other hand, so in the case of excess supply, the matching system is very, also usage rate is very low. And so from the theoretical results, so we see that so there are multiple equilibrium. So one is so equilibrium M and other equilibrium S. So, but so in the results of the experiments, so we cannot see such kind of two diverse equilibrium, but so very so intermediate intermediate so results. And this is so results corresponding to this hypothesis 2. So here is this table is a frequency of user's choice after using matching system, or frequency of user's choice after directly donating. So when one subject so using matching system and they so succeed, also they are matched. In this case, so in the next round, so they have a tendency to use matching system. And so if they use matching system and they failed, they are not they are unmatched. So in this case, so they
Excuse me, Professor Fukimoto, can you hear me?
50 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fukimoto,
So
like,
this is this is the final slide. Okay.
time, so can I request you to do it fast and conclude your presentation within
2-3
minutes?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you can come on your main part of the research and then you can conclude within 2-3 minutes. Okay.
And so when they fail, so in this case, so they don't use so matching system in the next rounds. And on the other hand, so in the case of direct offering, so in this case, so whether they succeed or fail, they have a tendency to use directly donation. Okay. And so this is the conclusion of our results. Okay, thank you very much.
So your research seems very nice, very good work, and you are working for the social cause also. So our best wishes to you, and we hope that you make this research better in future also. So can you tell us what are the limitations of your research so far?
Sorry, so my speaker is not working well.
Okay, what are the limitations of this research?
Limitation.
Yes.
So at first, so the number of subjects is very limited in my research. So economic experiments. So, but so in the case of real disaster cases, so the number of donators is very, very large. So therefore,
so you can improve that. Look, you can
skill is
improve that in
changing.
the next paper. Our best wishes to you. Thank you so much.
Any other question?
I think we should rather go to the next presenter because otherwise we are going to run out of time. So
Okay.
I don't think we should actually give
Okay.
time for another question.
Okay, thank you so much, presenter in our sessions here. Next, I would like to invite Paolo Leca to present her paper on graph embedding of chronic myeloid leukemia K562 cells gene network reveals a hyperbolic latent geometry. May you please present your paper?
Good afternoon. I'm going to show my screen. Let me see if it is visible.
Yes, it is
Yes,
visible.
it is.
Yes, it is very good. Thank you. So just 1 second and it will be okay. It will be full screen presentation. So this is a work about graph embedding. Graph embedding means essentially calculating the coordinates of the nodes of a network in space. So a network is not visualized as usual as a graph composed by nodes linked by edges, but rather as a set of points in a metric space. I don't have the possibility to go deeply into the methodology of graph embedding. I want only to mention that for the case studies that I'm investigating, that are biological networks, the more appropriate metric space is the hyperbolic space, hyperbolic geometry. So we usually see that biological networks that shows that exhibit properties like scale invariance, power degree distribution have a latent hyperbolic geometry. Without going deeply into the detail of the definition of this mathematical variety, I have reported here to a model of hyperbolic space. The one-sheeted hyperbolic space, you see that it is a negatively curved space, and a two-sheeted hyperbolic space. The main characteristic known by everybody is that in hyperbolic geometry, the sum of the angles of a triangle is less than 180 degrees. These reflect the negative curvature of the space. So the nodes of the network are points belonging to this hyperbolic surface or hyperbolic space in any dimension. The dimension depends on the characteristic specific to each network. On a hyperbolic space, the distance are not calculated via Pythagoras theorem, but there are other formula that I don't write here and are reported in these slides, essentially. Also, the measure of a circumference is differently calculated in hyperbolic geometry, and consequently also the measure of area of a circle and volume of a ball. This is important to remember because we will use this definition later in my presentation. There are many models of hyperbolic geometry. The fact that we have many models is due to the fact that it's very difficult to conceive the structure and the shape of an hyperbolic space because it is not directly related to the Euclidean space. One of the most famous models of hyperbolic space is the Poincaré ball. In two dimensions, we speak about Poincaré disk. And this disk is made by all the diameters and all the curved trajectory, all the curved lines, hyperbolically curved lines that end perpendicular to the external circumference. I skip all the formulas explanation, of course, for the lack of time. But on this particular geometric structure, we have the appropriate formulas to calculate the distance between the points. What is important to note is that in this representation of the network, the concept of edge is replaced by the concept of distance between nodes. So nodes that are very close are nodes that have a high or strong interaction. Nodes that are very distant are each to the other are nodes related by weak interactions. Now, my study here is focused on the fact that we can cluster the points representing the nodes of the network according to the angular coordinates of the points in the hyperbolic geometry. So why angular coordinate is so important? In order to understand why angular coordinates can be used to cluster the nodes in distinct groups, we have to think about the possible mechanism of network formation. It is known from the network theory that a network exhibiting hyperbolic geometry is generated by the combination of two principles: principle of popularity of nodes and principle of similarity of nodes. So popularity is referred to how many relationship I have, how many partners I have, how many nodes are connected to me. And similarity is referred to a measure of distance or similarity between two networks. Angular coordinates of the points in hyperbolic space represent similarities among nodes, between two nodes. Let me skip this wordy slide and show you immediately through this picture the mechanism of formation of a hyperbolic network representing many of the biological networks that are known. So imagine the most simple form of space, that is a circle. At the beginning, the circle is empty. Then at instant 1, I try to insert a node on the circumference, for example, node 1, and I assign a random angular coordinate, for example, of 20 degrees. Then at step 2, I enter a second node, node 2, with an angular coordinate of 235 degrees, okay? And I draw a link between node 1 and node 2, because at that moment I have only two nodes, so the closest node to node 2 is node 1. Then I enter node 3 with another angular coordinate, 270 degrees. And then I want to calculate the links between the nodes. I continue along this way, including nodes. Then what I do is calculating the angle between two nodes, okay? And I connect nodes whose angle is the minimal. So what I'm doing is I compare the angle between node 1 and node 2 with the angle between node 1 and node 3. If the angle between node 1 and node 2 is less than the angle between node 1 and node 3, I draw an edge between node 1 and node 2. So if we translate this procedure to a network, so if we redraw this procedure in the form of a network, we obtain this tree. And there are many mathematical theorems that from different point of view prove that a tree is a discrete representation of an hyperbolic space. So a tree is just equivalent to an hyperbolic space. So in formulas, in order to understand why the angular coordinate is associated to the similarity between nodes and therefore can be used to clusterize nodes according to their similarity, we have only to do a very simple transformation of the radial coordinate of the nodes. So the radial coordinate of the nodes, RS, can be calculated as the logarithmic transformation of this quantity S that represent the birth time, the entry time of each node. So coordinate S of node 1 is is 1, sorry. S for node 2 is equal to 2, and so on, okay? Now, if we calculate logarithm of the birth time of the entry time of each node in the network, we obtain a radial coordinate. And according to the new radial coordinate of the points are not more on a circumference, but on a hyperbolic plane. And the distance between points is calculated by formula 6, where you simply see that the distance d between node 1 and node 2, for example, is the logarithm of the entry time S1 for node 1, entry time S2 for node 2, and the angle between node 1 and node 2 divided by 2. So it means that really the angular coordinate is expressing a similarity between nodes, so a measure of distance between nodes that is in our representation, remind that in our representation it is describing the similarity. Distance is equivalent to similarity, is a measure of similarity. In this word, I wanted to test if the angular coordinate can be associated to the function that each node has in a network. So what I did very briefly is this. I considered a biological network, in particular a gene regulatory network, composed by genes related to the rise of chronic myeloid leukemia. Here in Italy, we are actively working on this disease, and in particular on the genetic reason behind the onset of this disease. We had these genes, and we had also a measure of distance between them. This is an experimental measurement of distance related to the correlation between the level of expression of nodes. So nodes highly correlated are closer than nodes that are not so highly correlated. We embed this network into first in a Euclidean space and then into a hyperbolic space. Here, without going too much into the mathematical detail, just to let you know that the procedure is to give as input to the algorithm the adjacency matrix of the networks. So each entry of this matrix is the distance, okay, the experimental similarity between nodes, and then we performed.
Excuse me, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? You have last 2 minutes, please.
2 minutes, okay.
Yeah.
We also embed the network also in a hyperbolic space with a similar procedure. Then we realized that the best embedding for this network was, as expected, the hyperbolic network, because the stress of embedding was smaller on hyperbolic network, as you can see on this slide. And then we started to use algorithm of clusterization like k-means to see if the clustering according to angular coordinate corresponds to clustering according to the functionalities of different genes. And we really found what is expected. In particular, here you see that we found 4 clusters, and in each cluster there is a representative functions, a representative functionality of genes. In particular, we also check that the shared functionalities like metabolic pathway, for example, were differently proportionate in different clusters. Otherwise, we couldn't say that this cluster reflects a true clean distinction. We really tested through hypothesis probabilistic test that the cluster were very distinct, and we found a correspondence with the functionalities of genes. I couldn't report here in my slide the heat map representing the different functions because the network was very big, more than 7,000 nodes, and so we have also hundreds of functions. But on the paper, you can certainly find the heat map representing which functionalities are more expressed in each cluster. We also go deeply in the analysis, trying to identify some representative genes that are the target for current therapies to see in which cluster they are and which are the functionalities of this gene. And here you see the name of this gene that probably don't tell you too much because it has to be referred to gene ontology for understanding these synonyms. That's almost all. Sorry if I rushed very fast. So concluding is that we proposed a conjecture that is the clustering according to angular coordinates in a genetic network reflects different cluster of functions in genes if the network is hyperbolic.
Thank you so much. That was a very nice presentation by you. We congratulate you for that. Can you hear me?
Yes, but I missed your last words.
Okay. So have you compared your results with some existing research or not? Like you given some outcomes?
No, I didn't. But what I did is a comparison of the results with the database in gene ontology. So I took the names of the genes in the 4 different clusters, and I extract from gene ontology database their functions, and I discovered that these are different and distinct. And also, as a point to support this research, I have found that genes like this one that you see in this slide that are that governs the formation of the blood cells, of the red blood cells, have been correctly identified as the target genes for therapy. So this gene belongs to clusters in which the function is the formation of red blood cell. So confirm, and this is known in biology. So it means that the classification of our algorithm reproduce expected biological results.
That's fine. Very good. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
presenter, and our sessions here. Next, I would like to invite our next presenter, Carla Sole Paradise Ramirez. to present her paper on web system managed by adults with Down syndrome for inventory management in the Skylight company. You may please start with your paper.
Paper title: Web system managed by adults with Down syndrome for inventory management in the Skyline company. Outline: Introduction, methodology, result assertion, and conclusion. Introduction. Companies after on the pandemic. At the global level, the process to reactivate the economy being resumed. After 2 years of the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus in 2020. Now most companies in the world are updating and providing their service performance to be competitive. That is why they also focus on the management of their inventories, which aims to ensure availability in a timely manner, desired condition, and in the correct place of everything that is used. Among them is raw materials, materials processed, and finished products. Labor insertion of people with Down syndrome. In countries of Latin America, it is to include people with different abilities in a job to break the inequality gap, representing an advance in an organization by demonstrating the commitment to incorporate personnel in conditions of low competence. When selecting personnel with a disability condition, corporate social responsibility, evidence encouraging their competitors to also make this type of fit for the benefits of this and shape the quality of life of people. However, the labor inclusion of people with disability continues to show users with great difficulty to insert themselves in the market given the logic of competition and limited active job methodology. Comparison of agile methodology. For the development of the research work, the investigation of existing agile methods was carried out, and for the choice considers the amount of information that is used, knowledge of age methodology, adaptation, accessibility for implementation. Group and information management group 4, XP4, Scrum 5, CAMP 4. Knowledge group 4, XP3, Scrum 5, Kanban 4. Adaptation group 4, XP4, Scrum 5, Kanban 4. Civility group 4, XP5, Scrum 4, country. And points group 16, XP16, Scrum 19, Kanban 40. Population and sample. The population is a set of all the elements that belong to the special field where the research work is developed. Sample indicates that it is a representative part of fragment of the population for the present research based on what is known about the three indicators. Inventory rotation and population 37 products, sample 35 products. Percentage of inventory without rotation. Population 33 products for 31 products. Inventory duration. Population 37 products, sample 35 products. Method development. Sprint 1. Figure A. For the implementation of the system, the field is database modeling that helps define in the structured information. Figure the login interface is designed and implemented where the username and password are necessary. Figure C. In addition, we process with the creation of users with detailed information. Spring 2. Figure A. The general configuration of the system is carried out where the menu, search, and fields section of the process. Feature B. The product section is developed with detailed information. Texture, weight, measurement, description of the section, and photo of the same. Figure C. The image shows the catalog of all the products added with their contribute photo and with the bar. Figure D. The satellite of the products are configured which are graph, standby, pallets, and done. Spring 3. Figure A. We process with the registration of income the products, sale price, category, and status. Figure B. Inventory comments is recorded. Weight, volume, date of entry. Figure C. The frequent customer is registered with mail and phone. Figure D. More customer data is added for contact. Delivery date, so document, delivery place, and person is shared. Figure A. The registration of the entry to the inventory is verified with date and responsible use. Figure F. Also, the inventory products history is displayed with date, reference, description, and quantity. Spring 4. Figure A. The type of operation is configured preservation method. The tape is saved and closed. Uh, Figure B. The final report the product sold is shown to which customer and with the per date, detail of each product and respective quantity. Figure C. At the end, the card is obtained in PDF format with the logo of the company and in a detailed format with relevant information. Result and discussion. Indicator 1. Average pre-test and post-test of the inventory rotation indicator. Pre-test 1.11, post-test 3.22. Indicator 2. Average of pre-test and post-test indicator percentage of inventory without rotation. Pre-test 3.41, post-test 1.06. Indicator 3. Average pre-test and post-test of the inventory duration indicator. Pre-test 3.39, post-test 1.02. Conclusion. In the present research that is focused on the implementation of what's managed by adults with Down syndrome for the inventory management in the Skyline company, where 3 indicators were used, and the following conclusions are obtained. First, the inventory turnover obtained an increase of 109.09% of the result in the pre-test 1.11 and in the post-test 3.22, affirm the hypothesis. The implementation of a web system influenced the vision for the inventory management, managed by adults with Down syndrome in the Skyline company. Then, the index of the percentage with Down inventory turnover obtained favorable decrease of 3.11% of the result in the pre-test 3.41% and in the post-test 1.06%, affirming the hypothesis. The implementation of a web system increases the percentage with Down turnover inventory management, managed by adults with Down syndrome in the Skyline company. Finally, the inventory duration index obtained an increase of 3.09% of the result in the pre-test 3.39% and in the post-test 1.02%, affirming hypothesis that implementation of a web system increases the duration for inventory management managed by us with Down syndrome in the company's timeline. Thanks.
Okay, is it over? Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. So I think your work is good, but I have one doubt. You told that your inventory increased with the 190%. So how did you get that 190%?
Mm,
In your slide, you
I
show.
don't understand. I don't
Okay,
speak
okay.
English.
You told that your inventory increases by 190.09%. Yes. Come to your previous slide. Come to your previous slide. Yes. No. Next slide. Next. Next. No. Now come to your conclusion slide.
I-
Yes. Here. So here you are telling that inventory turnover rate obtains an increase of 190.09% of the result. So how did you achieve this 190.09% result? Can you explain this? Okay, no issue. Otherwise, your presentation was good, and I think your paper is also nice. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Thank you
Any
so
further
much.
questions? I personally don't have any further questions. I think it will be quite interesting to know. I know that the last presenter didn't mention anything, but for interesting sake, I would like to know how long, according to what you experience, did it take the Down syndrome person to manage the inventory management process? How long did you experience it take them to learn the process and being able to deal with it? Did you try to test that as well? Carla, did you try to test that as well as part of your study or not really?
I don't speak English. And the purpose of the research it is demonstrate that people with Down syndrome can perform in knowledge areas with prior training and increase productivity in assigned situation. People with Down syndrome usually perform their tasks highly motivated and with a high sense of responsibility.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, presenter. And
So
our
do we
session
have
is,
any more presentations?
no, sir. We
Okay.
are end with our presentation.
So that is that. We are done now with everything.
Yes, ma'am. We have only 3 presentations in this session, as I mentioned earlier.
So quick. I just started enjoying it.
Yes, true.
Yeah. Now it was very interesting. I really want to thank the 3 presenters. They tried their best. And I know it is not always easy in a second language. So I really do appreciate the fact that you try. And it was quite interesting to listen to your presentations and to pick up some of your research that you're doing. Very, very well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I sincerely thank our authors for their excellent presentation. in this session and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope the session was knowledgeable enough for you all. On behalf of our team, thank you for their support during this 8th version and the previous 7 version of this conference. And we will be happy to have you in the 9th version in 2024. All the participants would be getting their digital certificate through email within 2 working days. Further, all the people have already been forwarded to the Springer and the publication will be live within 6 months. So kindly cooperate with the team ICICT 2023. I would like to thank our session chair, Binita Zilch and Dr. Vijay Singh Rathore for chairing the session. And this is a token of appreciation to our session chair, Binita J. Zilch, on behalf of our whole team. And there is another token of appreciation to our second chair of the session, Vijay Singh Rathore, on behalf of our whole team. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable presence. Now, I would like to request to all the participants to switch on their camera for a quick snapshot of this virtual conference.
Thank you so much for providing the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I would also like to say thank you for the opportunity. I really enjoyed it and it was very interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.